Well done again.
Thank you.
And can you just talk us through the process after you were left out of the last Test series, and then you said the experience of SA20 was pretty refreshing. What was your mindset coming in here today, and how did you get over the big drop?
Yeah, I think for myself personally, to be honest, it might have been a good thing. It was nice to. It felt today almost like starting off on a clean slate. So yeah, things work out quite weirdly at times, and obviously was hard sore to not be in Australia, but I spoke quite clearly as to the reasons why I weren't on the tour, and I was happy with those reasons. So us, as bad as we need runs on the board, and if you're not scoring runs in a team that wants to compete and be the best in the world, your position should be under scrutiny. So yeah, I think it might have worked out nicely in hindsight, but yeah, I just was extremely grateful to be back in the mix today.
Aiden, after you reached a very fine 100, and your helmet came off, it looked like there were tears in your eyes. What were your emotions? What was going through your head at that point?
Yeah, I was fighting them a bit, to be honest. It meant quite a lot to me, and it's been a strange journey, but just grateful that it worked out, and it always seems to be a little bit more special when you do it at your home venue with some of your friends and family and things like that. So yeah, it was a lot of relief going through me as well. So I think that's probably what it all boiled down to.
Yeah, well done. How important was it for you that Shukri Conrad, when he became coach, he basically just straight away said, I want Aiden Markram in my team, opening the batting. I mean, that was a real vote of confidence. And you, did that make a difference to you?
Yeah, it does. It does as a player. I've come quite a long way now as a coach, and we've got a really good relationship and a really good understanding between the two of us. And I think it's always great when a coach backs you like that. It gives you that extra bit of confidence, and you also want to do him justice as well for backing you like he does. So I think that's one of the coach's biggest strengths. He's always clear in his messaging, and you always know exactly where you stand, and he'll have his reasons for those sort of, or for wherever you stand. So yeah, I'm grateful that he backs me and was able to get another chance today.
Aiden, I know it's a different format, but winning the SA20 and batting the way you did, how much confidence in that? How much of that confidence did you put into this particular series?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is obviously very different, but I suppose at any stage when you have a few runs under the belt, you can take a certain amount of confidence from it. So the SA20, as we've all said, was a great comp, and we finished nicely as a team, and those sort of happy vibes and good vibes you do carry forward. And I think it helped that I had a bit of time away from the test stuff to, like I mentioned, pretty much start on a clean slate today, or at least that's what it felt like.
There's been a lot of talk about this new positive brand that Temba and Shukri want you guys to play with. How do you interpret that, and does it help you? Obviously it does, but how does it help you?
Yeah, I think it's nice to be able to back your options, and if it doesn't work out, but it's one of your strengths, then there'll be no questions asked. And that's pretty much me trying to put it as simple as it is. So each guy has their own strengths and areas that they're strong at and can score runs. And yes, the mindset is always looking to score. And if it's in your area, if it is your option, then there's no worries if it doesn't work out, if that makes sense. So you have to marry into that the attack you're facing and the conditions on the day, but trying to take situations of play out of the moment and just playing the bowler, playing the conditions, and ultimately sticking to your strengths and backing those strengths.
Aiden, I want to know if you've ever been aware that you are quite a cricketer that divides opinion on Twitter, not only on Twitter, but I think Shukri Conrad also said that I think the way he put it is what you're one of those guys that everybody backs, or either backs or think you flatly deceive. Do you pay mind to those sort of comments, and have you picked up on those sort of things, and does it affect you at all?
Yeah, so pretty much been social media, and those that know me quite well, friends and family, I'm not very good on my phone either, so I suppose it's a blessing in disguise. But a couple of years ago I decided to get off Twitter and not read. I suppose whatever you don't read, you can't look into, so that's pretty much what it is. Try to stay away from it. You appreciate the nice things that people do say to you, but it probably doesn't outweigh the I don't want to say nonsense, but the not nice things that you do read as well. So yeah, I'm pretty much off it, and it has helped me quite a bit since that.
So we're just going to go Hines, King, and Eastmore, and then up to Rashford.
Aiden, sorry for being this guy, but after the platform that you guys set, particularly you and Tony and Dean, were you perhaps a bit disappointed with how the day turned out, in terms of the middle order struggling a bit, or was it actually a case of a pitch changing a bit in nature and the West Indies actually bowling really well to come back into the game?
Yeah, well, I said it straight away to Tony, to Dean, after lunch. They started really well, and it felt all of a sudden like almost any ball can have your number on it. So conditions naturally start off slow and get quicker, and when it gets quicker, it generally comes a bit tougher to bat. Everything happens a bit faster, but even at the back end there, I know they didn't take the new ball, but a couple of overs even before the new ball was taken, the ball was still going sideways off the wicket. So you have to sort of take that into consideration, and if it was an absolute row, then I suppose you could maybe be disappointed, but watching from the side, I still felt like it was quite a lot in that wicket, especially with a ball that's 70 plus overs old. So yeah, I would assume that that's the reason behind it.
And given what you said about the approach and the pitch today, did you sort of tone yourself down a bit today? Did you maybe not go as hard as you have in the past?
Yeah, I've had some nice chats with the coaches and some of the senior players in the team, and it generally is quite difficult to drive here on day one with that sort of slow bounce. And in the past, I probably still would have drived, and I'm sure in the future I'll make that mistake again. But it's sort of about just understanding that at some stage you still will be able to drive. It's not a case of it's completely out of your game plan, but earning the right to maybe play a few drives or driving when it's extremely full. So it wasn't a mental thing or a game plan to bat slower or be less aggressive or things like that. It was trying to keep it as simple as possible in terms of reacting to how they're bowling at the time.
Aiden, you did mention that you paid by not going to Australia, but how extent pertains to the frustrations and the highs and the lows that you've experienced from a test perspective since at 60 you made against West Indies? Because there were innings where you booked the money but just couldn't convert until such time where you were dropped off the Manchester Test.
Yeah, it's pretty much as simple as that, to be honest. If you don't convert scores and you don't get big runs, then you will be under pressure to keep your spot in the team. So those were the frustrations, sometimes getting in and not going big, and other times just not scoring because of a good ball or a bad shot or whatever it might have been. And those frustrations build, and then you find yourself not in a squad, but you still understand why. So it was easy to live with, not nice, but easy to live with, that not being in Australia, and I understood it completely from a selector's point of view. And yeah, it was always a plan to, if you try work hard and get back, try not make the same mistakes again, and ultimately, by hook or by crook, try get some runs to keep yourself in the side.
And after the Women's World Cup finals, Sinalo Jafta spoke about like social media bullying and what the impact that had on Joe was, and you've also just mentioned it now. Can you just speak a little bit more about what the experience of being, I guess, a famous person, and then everybody has like access to you all the time through social media? Like, is that why you gained it?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Coupled with me not being great on my phone, it's made it a lot easier. But it's, after having a tough day, there's, in my opinion, no point in reading any more negative things that people are sending to you or notifications that you're getting. So if you don't have access to that, then it prevents you from seeing it. So I think that's kind of how things can always get put a lot worse than maybe what they are at the time. couple of bad innings and you feel like you're now the worst player in the world because you're reading into what everyone has to say. So it's each to their own. Some people have thick skin and don't look too much into it, but I just thought there's no real point reading it because it's not doing any good.
Any chance of one quick one? Very quickly. A couple of us in the press box have dug out the speech you gave during to your Eastern Cape Sunrisers team. But there's lots of effing and blinding, which is wonderful. So, but here's Aiden Markram, the Boy Scout, who everybody, So who's the real Aiden Markram?
No, there is a lot of passion and things like that come out in change rooms. But ultimately, like Firdaus mentioned, you're in the public eye more often than not, and you have to try to be role models to kids that are looking up there and try and make your people proud of you as well. So you don't want to go too far away from your authentic self, but also have to understand sort of the role that you do play off the field as well.
Thanks, Tom.